Welcome to Live Breathe Film, episode 75. We made it. Bet you didn't think we would, but we're here. Episode
We're
75.
back.
We're three quarters
25, and we're
through.
gonna be at our big 100.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100's coming.
big milestone. We'll get JP and Henry back on. It'll be a whole gathering. Um,
Three
but for
years, that'll
now,
be pretty big.
fuck man, 3 years and May we started, or end of May, April, end of April, beginning of May. That's 2020. That's
Yeah,
shocking.
Oh wow!
crazy.
I
The
bet it
way
would
we're
take us 3
going,
years to
though.
get 25 more episodes.
You beat me to the punch. I was going to say we're probably only going to be on episode 80 by April. The way our life was, it was a lot easier when we were just strictly locked inside all the time, and we were on a
Yeah,
consistent weekly basis.
hmm
But
hmm
granted, COVID is still causing delays in our episodes, and because it's a little
COVID,
bit,
natural disasters,
yeah, natural disasters on your end, um,
all
general
sorts of things.
malaise, yeah. But
Concerts.
exactly, trips, etc., life. But anyway, until then, you're still here with Corey, Doug, and Murph. Thank you for joining us. If you are joining us, we do appreciate it. Today we're going to reevaluate James Cameron's Avatar after its 4K high frame rate re-release in IMAX. I believe we all saw it in IMAX. So that'll be a fun one to talk about. But before that, we'll talk about a couple movies that have been released recently. Pearl and Don't Worry, Darling. A few TV shows: Cobra Kai, House of the Dragon, She-Hulk, specifically Daredevil's appearance. And then we will also talk about where we're currently at in our fall box office pool. It's gonna be a close one this fall, so it's gonna be a lot of fun shit talking to each other on a regular basis. But yeah, we'll start with a couple movies. Don't Worry, Darling, and Pearl. Corey and I have seen both of these. Doug, you saw X, but you didn't see Pearl, right?
Haven't seen either of those movies.
Didn't even see X. Oh my lord.
Really?
Um,
Oh, I thought you saw X.
well,
No,
catch up.
I had it. I had it in the box office pool at one point. Maybe
Did
that's
you?
why you guys thought I saw it.
I thought Corey had it. I thought Corey double dipped on the X world. But yeah, I
No,
guess you
I think
just
I had X.
good for you ahead of the times. But yeah, catch up before the third part of the trilogy comes out next year. Do you
Oh
know it's a
god, it's a
trilogy?
trilogy now. I thought
It's a
Pearl was a
oh yeah.
prequel.
Pearl's a prequel. Maxine is a sequel. Maxine is one of the two characters that Mia Goth played in X. So she played Maxine and Pearl. So we've gotten the prequel now with Pearl, and now we're getting the sequel set like in the 80s. So not too far after X. But it looks like it's set in Hollywood. They had a teaser for it after Pearl ended, similar to how X had a teaser for Pearl. So it's pretty sick that like A24 has made this indie horror slasher trilogy, especially in like such quick release. Um, and
Yeah.
we'll get into Pearl right now, but I like Pearl like a lot more than X. Like it was definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. Um,
Wow.
X X was very much like a kind of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre type um, film, like set in the 70s in Texas, like on a farm. Um, People getting picked off one by one, but just done in a weirder way because the villains of the movie were like old people. Um, but X goes all the way back to what was it, 1918?
Yeah, I think
1918,
so.
1919.
Yeah.
So, yeah, around then, like during World War One and during the Spanish flu, and follows Mia Goth's character, her villain in X, back when she's like starting her like murderous like path, and you really get to see her fucking go completely unhinged, and it's just such a her performance is amazing. Like it's legitimately like Academy Award nominating like worthy. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, the way it was shot is like a Technicolor like type musical type looking, like super bright colors. Like it looks like it was a movie shot in like around like Wizard of Oz. Um, and it's less slashery than X. It's more like a character study and like a breakdown of the main character. Corey, were you as enthusiastic as I was?
Yeah, I really really liked it myself too. Mia Goth's performance was like mesmerizing. Every scene that she was in was definitely like a scene sealer for sure. Um, I even enjoyed the limited supporting cast that was in the movie. They were very good. Uh, but one of the biggest things that probably has stuck with me is that the movie wasn't very fast paced, and I think it was a relatively short film, um, but it was it was very plotting, and Mia Goth's character was she had most of the screen time, and there wasn't really an unbelievable amount of things that happened like action wise. It built up over the course of the film, but it just kept you hooked. Like her performance was so good that you could just watch her just like eat, like,
God,
or talk to a character. Like it didn't matter. It was so fucking entertaining to watch her do whatever she wanted to do as that character, just live in that world and explore anything. So that was probably the biggest thing that stuck with me. Um, I really liked the editing, and you said the way it was shot was very beautiful. Um, but the way it was edited was really unique too. And it was very different. The movie as a whole was very very different style than X, which was also really cool. It was a different experience, different feel. Um,
yeah, and you know that the third one is going to be a similar type of situation. Like it's
right.
going to look like very Boogie Nights like
Mm-hmm.
style,
It
and like have a home video like type of grainy look to it because it's dealing with like Hollywood and like the porn VHS boom of the
mm-hmm.
80s.
Like each film has its own inspiration, which I thought was really
Yeah,
cool, and it didn't hide it. It wore it on its sleeve, and it used it to tell the story. But Pearl, like it goes from like she gets more and more unhinged, and the story goes crazier and crazier. Um, just gradually as the movie goes on, it's just this really gradual buildup, and then
yeah,
things happen.
yeah. You're just watching her break, her like slow
Literally snap.
breakdown, like as she's like somebody who like wants to get away from like her family and like become a star and like go to Hollywood and like when everything seemingly goes wrong for her breakdown is fucking. She just kills it. She has like three scenes that I would be like, wow, that is like would be the greatest like performance like in like a certain like a film, and she does it like three different times over. Um, so
Sounds
yeah,
like
I can't wait for the
Joker,
third
but
one.
with
You know what? Yes, it very much is like Joker,
In that respect,
but
yeah.
but
some
way fucking better.
okay. It's like just
And
someone that like life is shitting on them until they just like snap.
and it has more of a sense of humor
Taxi
to it
Driver, it's another one.
than Joker does. Like you're not going to feel miserable watching the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's still like has other aspects to it. Like if you're interested in film and film history, which you obviously are, you're on here. Like you'll find aspects of that you'll enjoy from the film. It's
Huh.
not just like it's like a fucking 2 hour movie glorifying mental illness and like Joaquin Phoenix like breaking down.
Well,
Um,
Pearl was also funny. Like it had moments of
yeah,
laughter that were
that
sprinkled in,
too.
which definitely helped.
A dark sense of humor.
Yeah, but
That's good.
So
I loved it.
So yeah, I mean, and you don't need to see X. Like Doug, I wouldn't say watch X and then watch
Well, it
Pearl.
sounds like I've got to watch Pearl, then this other one, and then X if I want to do it in order. No, the other one's after X. So Pearl X, and then the last one in
Yeah,
the trilogy.
yeah. Well, yeah. I'd probably say to you, watch Pearl first because I think you'd like Pearl more than X, and then you'd be more invested in the story of X, having watched Pearl. I think if you start with X first, you're not going to watch. You're going to be like, I don't need to watch Pearl. Um, so that
Okay.
would be that'd probably be my recommendation. You're not gonna, nothing's gonna really like. I already told you that the old people are the killers in X, so you can go in and watch Pearl
I thought that
first.
was like kind of clear from the trailers.
It was.
No, that's
It basically was, but in case you like weren't aware, you forgot. Um. All right, we can pivot to "Don't Worry, Darling," another movie that has been getting a lot of buzz this fall, but more on the negative side. Um, and this one also follows a female protagonist and her kind of breaking down throughout the film. But in this one, it's totally justified as she's realizing how screwed up the world that she lives in really is. And we're kind of on that journey figuring out what is going on as well. It's not like an obvious thing. You don't find out until like three quarters, maybe even further than three quarters of the movie, what is happening. And it really comes down to if you're satisfied with that reveal. Um, I wasn't totally. There's so many holes in it, um, and the characters aren't exactly the most riveting. So like the movie didn't work for me as well as um, something like Pearl.
yeah.
But ultimately, like I'd be interested in you checking this one out to get see if you can figure out what exactly the whole mystery is, and get your opinions on if it was as bad as Rotten Tomatoes is claiming. Because I definitely didn't think it was like 30 something.
Yeah.
Um, I'd probably say it was like a 50 something. But Corey, you saw it. You also agreed that it was a really nice movie to look at and things like that. But what did you think otherwise?
Um,
And this one, I'm trying not to give away like the reveal, just because it's
right.
like it really does kind of ruin the movie.
Um, so there were definitely aspects that I liked. As a whole, for like as an experience, I didn't really care for it. Um, I just didn't feel like there was really that much of a payoff for me, and I think a lot of it was the characters. Like Florence Pugh was the best
Yeah,
performance. She was
definitely.
amazing. Like have no issues with her at all. Um, but the plot having a lot of holes in it and the performances by a lot of the actors being kind of like one note for me took me out of it. And I just didn't find the overall plot really that interesting. It had moments that were really good, but for as long of a movie as it was, and what was it, like 2 hours and 30 minutes? It was long, something like that, right?
Um, might have just felt that long, but it was definitely over 2 hours. I don't think it was 2 hours and 30 minutes. If it was,
Well,
then it wasn't as long as I thought it was.
it was over 2 hours, and it felt that way. And I think it was because
2 hours and 3 minutes.
oh
So yeah,
wow, yeah.
that says a lot about what you really thought about the movie.
Yeah. It was very pretty to look at. The editing was again like really really well done. Um, but I think the the issues that I had that made it feel long, and overall why I didn't really care for it was that the plot was just disjointed, and like reveals happened way too early in the movie, uh, where it just didn't keep you engaged enough or keep me engaged enough. So I didn't really care for it. It was pretty disappointing for me as a whole.
So I mean, was the directing okay? Like the job Olivia Wilde did. It
Yeah,
sounds
she
like
did
it's
get
more story.
She did a good job.
story
You,
based.
yeah. You
And
can.
you go, Corey.
I think. I don't think the it was a directing issue. I think that the plot or the script was half baked. I think what they came out with and tried to film. I just don't. I don't. I think it was half baked because they had the actors. The actors were great. Some were only as good as what they were in because they weren't in a lot. But the plot just fell flat. But her directing
Yeah,
was good. She's a great
she
director.
had a lot of like um exciting visual aspects to what she did. She got strong performances out of certain people. I mean, and even Harry Styles wasn't like that bad or anything like that. Um, yeah,
Not that bad.
I feel like a lot of the time movies are on the like this movie was on like the blacklist. It's like screenplays that screenplays that are like unproduced, like not produced, but like I guess like they think Hollywood thinks has a lot of potential. And a lot of the times when these movies come off like the blacklist and are actually made, end up being disappointed by them. And I think there's a reason why they weren't like originally made and they were on this list. Um, like some of the ones that were on there, I'm looking at it now: Argo, American Hustle, um, The King's Speech, like some The Descendants, Hell or High Water. Like there are some good ones on there. Spotlight is fucking great in my opinion, but a lot of them don't end up working out for me, and I think there's like a reason. Like they've got some cool concepts to them, but then they're they also have some wild miscalculations. And I
Yeah.
think the twist is one of those things.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to make it a timely twist, but it's like a type of twist that it's going to piss off a ton of people, and um, it also just has so many holes. Like if you really like look into it and think about it, like
Yeah.
don't Honest Trailers is going to field day with like this movie when they go over all of the things that don't make sense about the twist.
Yeah, that's gonna bug the hell out of me if I watch it.
Yeah, you're gonna
Yeah,
be able. You'll tear it apart for sure.
It's not great. Well, sucks that Olivia Wilde did a good job and probably won't direct anything legitimate for a while just because of that whole debacle.
yeah, she's going to end up doing a smaller movie for her next one. Absolutely, after this one,
Yeah, I think.
especially between how it turned out, its box office, and then all the shit behind the scenes. Like she's guaranteed to have to make like a smaller budget movie after this.
Yeah, yeah. So she's definitely gonna have to earn that spot again to have big name actors and a bunch of studio money behind you.
Yeah,
Just because, yeah, whether it hurt the movie or not, I'm sure a lot of that drama is perceived at least to have hurt the movie. If anything, it might have helped the.
yeah. I mean, it might have got some people into the theater. Um,
Initially, yeah.
Certainly, the casting of Harry Styles got a lot of people into the theater that probably wouldn't have seen the movie if it was Shia LaBeouf. So, although I do think he would have been way better in the role.
Agreed.
So that's a little that's conversation for another day. Let's talk TV. Cobra Kai season 5. Start there.
Yeah.
So all three of us have watched at least the first 4 episodes. I mean, this show, it's crazy to think it's already on its 5th season. It's 3rd on YouTube, but it's definitely starting to show its age and starting to get a little bit more ridiculous, more sitcom-y. Doug, you started it before the two of us did, and yet you're only on episode 4, and we've finished it. what's the reasons for you not plowing through like past seasons?
So to me, Cobra Kai, what always got me into it was like the Johnny and Miguel stuff. And so like I like the dynamic between those two characters, and it was like there hasn't been a ton of it in at least the first 4 episodes I saw. Like, yes, he goes to Mexico, but that's all time with Robbie, not with Miguel. And like he's like, all right, I found you, Miguel, but like there's not really like a ton of time with those actors like bouncing off of each other too much. And then the episode I just finished, he was really just primarily interacting with Miguel's mom.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Hopefully, the latter half of the season we get some more Miguel and Johnny time, because I think that's probably the strongest relationship for me is those two. I think
you get some, but it's very much a Daniel LaRusso season.
He's like one of the weakest characters in my opinion.
He is, yeah, definitely one of the weakest characters on the show. They've painted him as such a fucking bore, like, and just the complete opposite of Johnny to like a degree that like you don't want to spend time with him. Then obviously you get tons of time with Johnny as well, but yeah, this season feels more like Johnny or Daniel dealing with his issues with like Terry Silver and stuff like that, and then bringing Chosen back to like work with him. And eventually, you get the whole gang teaming up together for the big battles and things like that, as usual. There's no real surprise there, but it takes a while to get there. Yeah, they've really steered away from the whole Miguel, Johnny being like the heart of the story, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, to me that was the relationship of Cobra Kai. That was like what got me involved in it, and got me watching. So none of the other characters really interest me that much. With Danny, being like the worst.
Even like
they
Sam
gotta
like the most time of like the kids probably, and she's the most boring of the kids.
The LaRusso's the wife is the best part of the LaRusso clan.
Not by far. Like how did she get stuck with the rest of them? She's so much more entertaining.
Yeah, that's true. That's something they screwed up, was that how they handled LaRusso. They could have like gotten to more of his like New Jersey, New York roots a little bit more or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they've made him follow Miyagi way like too much, like as a presence, that he's like got no
sense
edge to him or anything.
But Miyagi was like not a boring character too. No. He was like
No, you're right. That's fair.
I feel like a lot of the decisions that he's made too, if Miyagi was alive, he'd be like, Daniel-san, what are you doing? Like, I didn't mean this literally.
Yeah, Daniel is fucking really bad with making decisions. Not that Johnny's like great at them, but because Johnny's like, I'll like whatever just comes to his mind right then and there, he's doing. But yeah, Daniel makes some truly poor choices, just because of his like trauma from Cobra Kai. Like it really just all has to do with he can't get over fucking shit that happened when he was in high school, and like the type of stuff that he put up. Well, yeah, and he's hot headed. I guess that was true even in the movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like shocked to find in the last episode I watched that like one of the guys from Cobra Kai is like not still doing karate Cobra Kai stuff. He owns like a furniture store.
Yeah, Mike Barnes.
Yeah,
Mike Barnes. Yeah, he's just like completely caught off guard. But wait, you're not just still doing karate, and you don't have a gang of karate guys running around? This is weird.
He was his, I guess, secondary villain in Karate Kid Part 3.
He was a Silver Knight.
A lot of villains in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you seen Crease at all yet? I don't even think you have. I don't think he shows up till
No.
the second half.
No, I haven't seen
Oh,
Crease. I forgot about Crease.
Johnny Crease.
He is a mastermind
My
character.
lord. Just you wait. Just finish the season.
It's gonna be so
And
dumb.
I cannot wait for you to get to the finale because if they didn't jump the shark, they fucking I don't know what you can even describe it as.
Yeah,
It, like jumping over a shark that's already on a motorcycle. Like it is so extremely stupid
over the
and
moon.
over the top and not what the show is. I was like, my
Cool.
God, they actually went there. Holy shit, this is so dumb. And yet I'm gonna watch the next season. It's all well, the show's like comfort food at this point, but I think it's still better than comfort food. I think there are strong aspects to it, but it is showing its age at this point, and it shows how it should have ended in season 4. Like they had a natural ending, and they're just continuing to go further. Um,
Yeah, it's definitely approaching that. It hasn't gotten to the point where I'm like, wow, this is just unwatchable anymore. Like it's not even there. It's not even like at that point. It's
no, no,
just
no.
it's still very very well done. The performances are still great. It's just that they're elevating um ridiculous nature of like this show that has like kind of happened throughout the show, little bits here and there over the seasons, so much that now you're just like, whoa, like what are they doing? Like
I'm
where are they
thinking,
going?
I'm thinking about the season finale again, and I can't stop laughing. Um,
Um,
thank God
Sounds
that
so
Pater
horrible.
Silver. Uh, he killed it this season again, 2 seasons in a row.
yeah, he for an actor that he hasn't acted in a very long time, or maybe he's only been doing really small productions. Um, he was so good as a villain, like especially in this season. He like talk about like elevating, like they elevated that character even more so than last season. He was great, so entertaining. He meshed well with every character that he interacted with, like even the kids. Like it was great. Um, and like the fights continue to be great. Um,
Yeah,
the
they're
fights with
well shot as usual.
I mean, the fights with him I really like because like he's a martial artist to begin with, so like you could tell like he's doing the choreography and like the fighting for the most part. Um,
Unlike um,
Crease.
no, no, well, yeah, most of the adult actors. I was thinking of Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, he doesn't do any of it, right?
Yeah, the scenes where you do see him do stuff, like you could see, like, oh, that doesn't look painful.
um, there, uh, there was one other thing that I was, they do a really good job, uh, bringing back, not legacy characters from like the movies. They do a really very good job with that, of course, but bringing back characters that are been introduced in the show. Like, I think that they do that really, really well. Like, bring back, the idiot cousin, Machio's cousin, and like his friend, the other guy who works at
Yeah,
the Anoush, yeah,
and whatever the Jersey cousin is.
yeah. They do that really well, and I think it's just that the show continues to be written really well, but I they're definitely getting to the point where they're like, all right, are we gonna really go for broke with the ridiculousness? Like go for it and just see what happens or not? And I think like they've decided to do that.
Yeah,
I really hope it goes one more season.
yeah. It doesn't
I,
look like
I
they're gonna rush making the next season, from what I've been hearing.
aren't they in
Because most
negotiations with Sony?
I'm
Isn't there
not
issues with that?
positive. I'm not sure. I know they're making another show with Netflix.
I mean,
but it
Netflix
seems
must love that show because it's just like, how much money could that show cost?
yeah, exactly,
And it
and
does
it's always one of their most
so
watched
well.
ones. But I mean, the show wraps up a lot of like the loose ends, like by the end of the season, with the exception of like one that they set up. So, like, yeah, they could definitely take like a year off and like maybe like actually like age up the characters a little bit. Um, Probably wouldn't hurt. I mean, the entire show has been based around like the course of like a year and a few months at this point. Um,
That's wild.
and they all look so much older. So probably couldn't hurt to do a time jump. Um, but yeah, I mean, still entertaining. Johnny's still Johnny. You're gonna get the ridiculous moments with him where he's out of touch. Um, Doug, do you see the one where he's a like a Uber Eats like type of
No.
or driver or like or an Uber driver and everything? Like that's very funny. He has a white claw in one episode because it sounds badass. Um,
that
just typical Johnny Lawrence stuff. William Zabka just continues to be the best part of the show.
Yeah.
Um, so
I hope they at least next season return back to the Miguel Johnny stuff since they're I think they work so well together, those two actors.
yeah.
All right.
All right, you guys. I'm done talking. You talk about House of the Dragon.
Sure. So, man, what do we? So we're on. We just finished episode 8, right? So,
Yeah, so last time we talked about it, it was the younger actors, Millie Alcock, and
yep.
I don't remember the other actress's name. Basically, your two main characters, Rhaenyra and Alicent. And I thought they both, closing out the season, I thought they were both did a really great job. I was particularly impressed with Millie Alcock, who plays Rhaenyra. I'm assuming we'll probably see more of that actress. She's a little younger, in her 20s. And I don't think she ever played into her 20s for the character. But I thought she crushed it. I was really happy with her performance, and I was really worried about moving into the new actresses with the time jump because this show is every episode you're constantly going forward like 5 or 10 years, which is kind of crazy. Um, what did you think about the time jump, Corey? The time jump that takes us into like our main characters are no longer the characters that we knew and grew to love.
Um, I was really impressed. Like, definitely going into that next episode. I guess it was episode 6 where where we were introduced to the older versions of those characters. I was very worried. Um, and more worried about Millie Alcock's replacement because I've never seen her before in anything. I don't know what she's been in. But
I
Olivia
don't
Cook,
I don't know
I
either.
yeah, Olivia Cook I really like, so I wasn't really worried about her. But such a like a sudden time jump like that after you're so invested in those actors, um, I was worried. But I within like 10 minutes, that first scene in that episode, I was completely, absolutely fine. I thought the way that they did it, where they introduced, uh, you know, older Rhaenyra and older Alicent, like immediately within that first 10 minutes and got it out of the way. They, both of them have like such a great chemistry together. Like, those actors, um that it's so much fun to watch them interact with each other throughout that show.
Yeah.
And that really comes off, not to mention they're both great actors by themselves. um and I think they just did a really good job introducing them right off the bat and then continuing, the ongoing story. So
Yeah. I think I agree with that now. It took me a little while Olivia Cook, the and her younger actress, I thought like seemed like the same character to me.
Yeah, they were
That
interchangeable.
Emily, I think Emily is her name, Darcy,
Emma Darcy.
Emma Darcy. Her and her the handoff there, like I still like the character, but it felt like a different person to me, so that was a little bit more startling. It wasn't quite as seamless, so it took me a little bit more time to come around.
She didn't have the
I
same
think
features. Like she looks different enough
yeah, she
that
looks a little different. The performance I thought was a little different. Millie's
Mhm.
performance was more like fiery, where I thought like Emma Darcy's was a little bit more subdued.
Mhm.
Um, which I guess you could just say the character's aging. The time jumps in general have been interesting because we've got the kids keep changing actors and actresses,
Mhm.
and but then we have like these core characters who like 20 years pass and they don't even age them up at all. Like
Yeah,
Matt
Damon
Smith,
barely.
Damon looks the same. Like they change his hair, but he looks the same. Sir Kristen doesn't age throughout
Mhm.
so it's weird to kind of you're being told there's a passage of time and the story has taken a jump in the passage of time, but like some of the characters are just like ageless.
Except like Viserys, which gets more and more, you know,
Yeah, Viserys by the end of it is like
terrible.
looks like the crypt keeper.
Yeah.
He's got like he's got a condition which is pretty clear like right from the start.
Mhm.
Um, and Viserys is played by Patty Constantine
Considine?
Considine.
Considine, right?
Considine,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's how you, yeah, it's Patty Considine. Yep.
um, who I thought always gave a great performance, but the last episode was probably the highlight for me of the entire show was the performance he gave and how he kind of still in his crypt keeper like stage is able to show like such like strength and
Mhm.
he just like I don't know it was I've never it's rare he had to play being so like sickly and um, he just like crushed it. It was really impressive to see the performance that he was able to give.
Yeah, for a moment or part of his life where he's vulnerable and at the end of his life as he was or is to give the like powerful performance that he did and show strength and like kingly qualities
Yeah,
was while still being vulnerable was really really well done. Yeah, and I know we spoke about this before, but hopefully he gets a nomination for an Emmy from
I think
that.
he has to get a nomination. I mean, that
Should.
was. I think this show has been surprisingly good for what it is. Like, I did not expect it to be anywhere near the quality that it is. I don't think there's a single weak episode
Nope.
throughout the first 8 episodes, which is I find really surprising, and the fact that I feel like it gets better
Mm-hmm.
almost with each episode, which to me, like I said, with for me this last episode, episode 8, was the highlight of the entire season for me so far, just because there were so much great performances, the story, I really enjoyed. Action wise, not a lot happens. It's really a lot. It's
Yeah.
really just focused on the drama and the dynamics between the family members.
Yeah, and I think that that's part of why it's succeeding is it's written very well, definitely, and it follows a lot of the same beats, Game of Thrones, earlier seasons of Game of Thrones that we really liked, but the show is very very focused, way more focused than Game of Thrones, and I think like that has made the show like kind of elevate itself to another level at this point because they're spending time with just these, I don't know, 10 characters, 12 characters, and there's very little action. We get some, very little, but it's focused on what's happening behind closed doors with those characters in King's Landing. Like that's really it. And it's written so well that you just can't stop watching it. Like you just and the performances. So it's like a perfect storm And I think
Yeah.
that's why it's really like killing it at this point. They were able to kind of bring all of those things together. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, the story that they wanted to tell. Hopefully, it continues. Even the way it's been shot and the special effects, I think,
Oh yeah, it's been shot
way better than
really
Game of
well.
Thrones. I
Yeah,
think.
I don't know that the story is quite as good as like peak Game of Thrones, but it's
No,
really
no.
good.
Yes,
Yeah,
it has
it's really good.
potential, but
There's things that happen in the writing where I'm like, I don't love the choice, or something seems a little like a weird choice, but overall, I mean, I think it's really good. I think probably one of those weird choices is how they ended episode 8, this last episode, with like how they kick off Allison stuff.
oh yeah,
I thought that was kind of like there was probably a better way to handle it. It
hmm
was kind of felt like a little goofy, but so there's just little things like that that don't always work for me, but overall, I really enjoy it. The time jumps. I'm hoping we're starting to like. I don't know how much further in time we can keep jumping per episode.
yeah,
So I would imagine like we're getting towards the end of that, and
yeah.
because it's all trying to get us to the Dance of Dragons, which is like the big
Civil War.
Targaryen civil war.
Yep.
So I imagine we're getting towards the end because it seems like we're pretty close to all that stuff kicking off.
Yeah, they've done a great job with telling the story while also building this tension, this looming tension that is gonna, boil over, which probably is gonna happen with next episode or two, before the season ends. So it's been really well done. Hopefully that they can continue. I think they said that they want at least 4 seasons, something like that.
Good. Yeah, I hope they
I
take their
think
time.
yeah. But yeah, probably my from someone who doesn't watch a lot of TV. So I don't know how well this will come across, but probably best thing on TV that I've seen this, for the past couple months.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing on TV right now. But and it's appointment television for me, where I like on Sunday, which there's NFL football on, so usually that's what I'll be watching is football.
Yep.
But Sunday I'll take an hour out of that football game to usually watch the latest episode.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's good. I would definitely recommend it. I hope it continues and ends strong with these last 2 episodes that's got left. But I've been surprisingly impressed with it so far. I know we're not going to talk about it because I'm the only one that watched it, but I mean, I have the opposite feeling about Rings of Power. It's just like could care less about that show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting because I would say Rings of Power has a lot more action.
Yeah.
But I just don't care about the characters, and I think for me that's what makes or breaks a show is you got to have compelling characters, or the action is kind of meaningless. So they've done a good job so far. I know Miguel Sapochnik who's was the showrunner for this season, has stepped away.
Mm-hmm.
Unclear if there was an issue between him and HBO, or if he just wanted to go work on like the Jon Snow series that they're trying to do.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm hoping that it wasn't a big creative difference issue, and that they're still gonna kind of keep going what they've got because it's so good so far.
Yeah, I agree. Murph, definitely check it out when you have the time.
I have the time. I'm just choosing not to watch it at the moment. But I don't know.
Stay.
Right
When the
now,
mood strikes,
yeah,
you
I
should
just
check it out. I think you would
just
enjoy
need
it.
the mood to strike, and it hasn't yet. I know you're trying to sell me on it as like crazy amount. I gave like Doug's text messages every week in our chain. That's like House of Dragon, still really goddamn good. Like this should be Emmy nominated. Da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, I should start watching this. And I will.
Yeah,
I'll get to it.
yeah. The Patty's performance is worth it alone, just for that. Especially that last episode is just so damn good.
Yeah. All right.
So
Well, let's talk about something that's just on the more goofy side of things, something that I am watching on TV, and that is She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. We'll specifically focus on the Daredevil episode. There's no reason to talk about a ton of um,
you don't
the
want to talk about the
female
wedding episode?
fun.
Or-
I like the show. It makes me laugh, uh, but it's also very hit or miss, and some things just fucking really don't work out for me. Like the one on Tim Roth's ranch or whatever. That one didn't do much for me. But
I like the
yeah,
way that episode was shot, though.
how so?
I thought that there was a lot of clever shots, like when she was getting ready, how like it would kind of like show her getting ready and then pan to the other room, and then there's like her doing something else, and so you kind of just felt
Oh,
like as
are
you were
you
going from different.
referring to the date montage in the very beginning?
Yes,
That was fantastic.
right.
That
I
was
looked
one
at
of
it. That
the
person
best
hadn't.
scenes on the entire show.
Yeah, I thought I noticed that that director who did that episode hadn't done any She-Hulk episode. I think up until that point,
Got it.
because I was like, this feels different than the rest of what I've seen so far. So I don't know how much say she had in it, the person that directed that episode. But yeah, there were some really cool things I thought in that being the whole dating montage thing. I thought was really well done.
Yes, you're 100% right about that. It was more so after that
After
it's
when she gets to the ranch,
yeah, and even by the end of the episode, like some of it, like I enjoyed, but like the episode as a whole, I was like on a high from that like beginning opening scene, and then just was kind of let down from that point on.
yeah,
Sometimes like these cameos work with characters from other MC related stuff, but sometimes they haven't worked for me on this show. Like Wong has worked for me, but not even every episode that he was in. Like his first one didn't do as much, but then
yeah.
the Wongers of it all, that episode was he was fantastic in it. But yeah, Tim Roth, his return as Emil Blonsky has just not really worked for me. But let's talk about Matt Murdock's return. We got Charlie Cox back as both Matt Murdock and Daredevil himself. We got a hallway fight. We got a new costume. Uh, we got a lot. We got a walk of shame. It was a interesting episode for him and a departure from the Netflix show, despite the fact that we also did get the theme music from Daredevil, which was pretty awesome.
I was so happy when that they get me every time they do like the little
they're
snippet of music.
we are suckers for that with them
Every time,
falling
like
back to previous iterations of characters.
the
In
X-Men
the
stuff,
MCU.
every time they
Yep.
do like the durner, I'm like,
Yeah, it
yes.
works. It works every time. It was really, really cool. But yeah, how do you think he was, both as Daredevil and as Matt?
I thought he was good. I mean, it definitely was different. He was different in the fact that he wasn't as brooding. He wasn't like the
Yeah.
brooding Matt Murdock. But like that Daredevil doesn't really make as much sense in the She-Hulk world. So it made sense that he would be a little jokier. I didn't think they took him to like the extreme like I was worried they were gonna do, where he's just like overly goofy. I thought he still felt like Matt for the majority of it. I thought, some of the CGI, of course, could have been better. Like they have him do like flips and stuff, and it's very clearly like shitty CGI Daredevil doing stuff, and not like the gritty stuff. I mean, the hallway scene was, they were trying to call back,
Yeah, it
but
was a
I mean,
callback, but it ultimately like felt like
yeah,
they also
like
kind of turned it into a joke by like
having
having
She-Hulk, yeah,
yeah
pop in. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of goofy. The bad guys had like crossbows and
yeah
like
they didn't stand a fucking shot like against
yeah,
him.
yeah. So I mean the fighting and stuff was kind of goofy, but I wasn't expecting anything super crazy because it's not really his show. It's She-Hulk. It's more of just like reintroducing him as a character. I enjoyed it though. I thought I enjoyed it overall. I was happy to see Charlie Cox be Matt Murdock again. It was obviously the second time we've seen him since that Netflix series ended, since he was in No Way Home. But yeah, overall I thought it was good. I was happy with it. I don't want him to be like that in his own show, but I'm okay with them doing like a little bit of a lighter version as long as they don't take it too far.
Yeah, like I heard complaints about like, oh, you're turning like Daredevil like into like a joke and things like that, but I feel like he was in line with basically every other MCU character. Like they joke about every character, it doesn't matter who it is, and everyone is lighthearted to a degree. Um, like who's our most brooding character? Fuck Drax, and they've turned him into a complete comic relief type character. So like, I think everyone is going to ultimately have comedic aspects to them.
The courtroom
I mean,
stuff for being like an attorney at law thing is always like horrible.
yeah.
I don't know if it's like
Well, it's because you are our resident lawyer. You can tell us how poorly those scenes are.
yeah, I don't know if it's just like
It's like
to
this is
everybody
so
else they're like,
unrealistic.
yeah, this is how court works, but I'm just like, this is so ridiculous. Yeah, just the way they all go down. I wish it was like a little bit more like a real hearing and not just like characters mouthing things off and the judge be like, decided.
Yeah,
We
anytime
only have
they,
a half hour an episode, so
I get it. Like it doesn't have to be like the it doesn't have to be so realistic that you're falling asleep because the trial takes weeks and it's super boring because they're going through like witnesses and evidence and all that and it's horrible. But it'd be interesting if they did like a trial or something that lasted multiple episodes or something and made it like a little bit more interesting than just like these are like the goofiest court things I've ever seen. There doesn't ever really seem to be like any real stakes to any of these trials, any time they're in the courtroom.
yeah, anytime they bring in one of these ridiculous type of superhero characters, it hasn't worked for me.
Oh, that
Um,
Fry guy was horrible.
Frog guy, everyone in the that farm episode, um, basically every fucking single character that they've introduced on this show. Titania, I'm fine with. I actually want to get your opinion on Jamil Jamil, how she has been on the show.
I'm not really sure what like purpose she's meant to serve on the show.
That's a good point. I don't fucking know.
I was gonna ask the same thing, and I've only seen.
They made it seem like she was gonna be like a meaningful character, and she just kind of like popped in a couple of times. She's been fine. It hasn't been. I want it to be more than what it is right now. Like
It's very much just a sitcom, and like they'll throw in characters at random, and it's not very serialized.
yeah, yeah.
Who
It
do you
could
think's
be a little
behind
bit.
everything? Like who broadcasted that video?
Josh, I don't know.
You think he's the like the leader of the group?
I mean, he's
Hulk
clearly
King.
not because he was texting somebody called
Yeah,
like
he Hulk King.
Hulk King. So I don't freaking know. Hopefully, it's not that weird guy.
Yeah, I
They
wouldn't
keep
be
bringing him
surprised.
back like he
Yeah,
matters,
I wouldn't be surprised if it's him. I don't know.
and they
It'd be
just like
cooler
turn him. Go
if they
ahead.
turn him what?
I was just gonna say like I know like people have been wanting Red Hulk to show up, so I guess if he did like a Red Hulk type thing.
Yeah, well, she made the remark about that in the last episode. Ruslani
Oh, maybe that's
continues
why.
to kill it. She's so good in the show.
Yeah, I almost want
Um,
more though of her and less of She-Hulk. Like we got a lot of her recently. It felt like, and I've been kind of like, I like this. I don't need She-Hulk.
Yeah, I'm happier when Shield's not in it, and it's just focusing on Jen. Like that
Yeah.
episode when they had the title
Yeah, I love
just
Jen.
Jen, I'm like, cool, this is great. Like, just focus on Jen. She's the best. Um,
Yeah, she just needs like her own sitcom, Tatiana, because she just like is really good at the sitcom stuff.
yeah, at this point, I'm having fun with her and her assistant. It took me a while to warm up to the not the assistant, the paralegal. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm enjoying them together, and yeah, she's way more interesting as herself than when she turns green and looks pretty fucking fake. Did you? What did you think? Wonder if we have the shared same opinion. In what scene did you think she looked the fakest in? Because Corey and I were talking, and he's like, "Yeah, some of these action scenes, she looks really fake." Um,
I don't think I remember any of the episodes well enough. I mean, she looks pretty fake. She looks pretty fake in a lot of it. I don't know what do you got? Lay it on me.
for me, it was after the Titania case when she's walking out of the courthouse with Renee Elise Goldsberry. I was like, "My God, is this not looking real at all?"
It's like a floating Tatiana Maslany face. Like her face looks good, but then everything else like is so all over the place. All the
There
special
have been
effects,
times.
the hair, oh, so bad sometimes.
Yeah, but it's weird too because there are some times where like it looks really real. Like I've seen them zoom in on her face,
Yeah,
and it looks like the
the
realest I've ever seen it
photorealistic.
look before.
If it's zoomed in on her face, I think the face is done really well.
But
Like the
normally it looks
mocap.
like normally even the face looks like plasticky. But like there's a couple of scenes where they've zoomed in really far, and it's like it looks like real skin. I'm like, what the hell is going? Like, why did this just bump in quality all of a sudden?
There was I don't remember what episode it was, but there was one where she was wearing like a one piece, like a dress, and the dress, like the fabric looked so bad. I could not believe how bad it looked.
Yeah.
So it's very hit or miss, and I think like that's probably because they did what they could and worked on stuff that wasn't going to be or worked on stuff that probably would be noticeable to most people, and then didn't focus on a lot of this other stuff and were
Yeah, I
being
mean
nitpicky.
it's good enough. Like
It is
it'd
good
be
enough.
nice if it looked better, but I don't know. I don't know if they're just like beating me down with bad TV shows CGI at this point, but I'm just like fine,
One
whatever. I'm
question I did
sure.
have, because I didn't see the Daredevil episode yet. I saw that a lot of him in the suit is CGI'd, like the gold or the yellow. I mean, and all of that. Like, how did that look? Did it look fine, or did it look like normal She-Hulk bad
The
in
him
line with
and
the show?
my opinion, the CGI model of him like jumping around stuff looked bad.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
I
was
mean
curious
like
about that.
they weren't gonna all of a sudden knock it out of the park with the Daredevil CGI. They just try to. They were wise enough that they didn't use a lot of that CGI. Like he does a couple of flips, and you're like, all right, that looks
It was
bad,
quick.
and then he's gone.
It was a
And
quick
you're
cut,
like, okay,
I guess.
cool, yeah. And there's a decent amount of Matt, which I liked.
Yeah,
And then
I would have been happy if he just continued on the show. Him and Charlie Cox and Tatiana Maslany had fantastic chemistry together.
Yeah, I read that. That's great. I mean, I'm sure they probably will cross paths again.
I mean,
I would
he
hope.
also Charlie Cox also had fantastic chemistry with one scene with Tom Holland. So I feel like he's gonna work in whatever he does.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
just a strong actor. And
yeah.
same with Tatiana Maslany has great chemistry with basically everybody as well. She had like
I
one scene
liked
with that guy Josh. I'm like, oh, I like these two together. They should be an item. And then he's bad.
I
So
liked him and Tatiana. So Charlie Cox and Tatiana, this characters together better than I liked any of the Daredevil and Elektra stuff.
yep. Yep, yep,
from the
yep.
show.
I mean, that was really bad. So
As I was talking about Charlie Cox being having great chemistry with people, I also looked back at Daredevil, and the only one he had good chemistry with romantically was Rosario Dawson in the first few episodes of season 1. That was like the only one
God,
I really like. I really
I don't even
bought.
remember that.
yeah, he definitely did.
The stuff, him and Karen never really worked for me, and
Nope.
him and Elektra never worked for me.
No.
But again, I mean, Rosario Dawson's like, she has fantastic chemistry with the actor in Clerks too. So
Yeah.
she can fucking like make anything work. So
Yeah, but I like seeing as sucky as it is going to be to lose like some of the great brutal fight scenes we had in the Netflix show. Like, I think the lighter-hearted Matt, I expect the relationships and his dynamic with other folks to be better now that he's just not like a I fucking hate life character anymore.
yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do tone wise with Daredevil Born Again. Have you noticed that Marvel Studios, Disney, none of them have even mentioned Daredevil 3 yet on social media?
No. Isn't it supposed to be like 30 episodes?
Well,
Yeah,
no.
what
They've
is it,
talked about
18?
Daredevil Born Again, but they haven't talked about Deadpool. So I'm wondering, like, what exactly that like means. Like, so does that mean Deadpool is going to be sanitized and or Daredevil's going to be sanitized, but Deadpool's not because they're not even like talking about it. It just
You don't think that like it's just because the Deadpool stuff is too far away?
no,
They
because
don't.
they announced every like at Comic Con and D23, they're always plastering logos the moment an announcement comes out. I was like, maybe they're gonna wait a couple days so people can watch the Ryan Reynolds video up on their own, but it's been weeks and they haven't posted a thing yet about a release date, its existence, anything.
Wasn't
So
there a release date in the Ryan Reynolds video?
yeah, it's already
Yeah.
been changed.
Oh,
Like every fucking movie has gotten delayed because of
I
Blade.
heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they're maybe they're trying to like separate because it's going to be, the R-rated comedy that it's
Yeah,
going to
that's
be.
that's what I'm wondering if that's the reason they're doing it. Like, and is if Daredevil is going to be like more similar to everything else in the MCU tone wise, because they are promoting that on their like pages with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see.
It's gonna be a weird
Hopefully
few
Ryan
years.
Reynolds didn't just go like do his own thing and that wasn't authorized.
Oh,
No.
he just announced it.
It had its release date officially moved by Disney 2 months, so it is an official
Okay.
project.
him and Hugh Jackman are like, "Fuck it, we're announcing this."
Also interesting is it's not the only one produced, like one of the only movies. It is one of the only movies not solely produced by Kevin Feige, but he's a producer on the movie. So if you look at like on like Wikipedia, like all the phases and like it has like the director, writer, producer, like basically producers like Kevin Feige straight down, and then it's Kevin Feige and Ryan Reynolds for Deadpool 3. So it's pretty cool that he still has that big of a role on the franchise.
That was such a cool announcement. I'm just so surprised that that's the way they dropped it.
Yeah.
I really thought like it was going to come out in like D23 or one of those events.
Exactly.
It probably was, and I would imagine Ryan Reynolds probably petitioned to do it something like that. Like that feels like that was his idea. That's like his.
We were so disappointed when it wasn't at D23.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it felt like it belonged there, so it was kind of weird, but still pretty epic.
Totally.
Well, it's like the Harrison Ford rumor, which keeps popping up. Like that was supposed to be at D23, and that didn't.
Yeah, this was one that you kind of thought there was a chance, but
because we
and I
already know
read
the movie. We like knew the movie was in existence, like and everything like that. I mean, obviously we knew Thunderbolts was in existence. I didn't even hear the Thunderbolt rumor until after D23.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it was a thing beforehand.
Yeah, I've been hearing Thunderbolts since they started introducing those characters.
Or not that, I mean, specifically that Harrison Ford would be in it. But yeah, I've been hearing about Thunderbolts for a while as well.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's definitely like increased my interest in Deadpool to know that Hugh Jackman's going to come back, get like
Definitely
jacked one more time.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's already in the gym. They showed pictures. He's
getting
getting ready.
Deadpool in the MCU is like sick enough, but fucking Hugh Jackman coming back, insane.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, massive.
Yeah,
Whenever we get it.
yeah, 2024 currently, I think. Yeah, November of 24.
Oh God.
So
Whatever.
still a ways away.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh well. So still looking forward to it. It's still going to be awesome. Jackman and Reynolds have such good chemistry too. It's going to be. I just imagine it's going to be awesome, and it looks like they're going to probably fight each other or something.
yeah, I mean, it should be a sure thing. Hopefully it is. Want to get into the box office? Pivot from Marvel?
Yeah.
I think we could just skip that segment this time.
No, you don't want to talk about your how you've been performing so far?
Yeah, I think we can, just skip it. We'll come back once Avatar is released.
That's fair. But no, we need to give the audience an update. They need to know how everyone's doing. It's going to be a close pool. Right now, it's not. Right now, it's not close. It's close between Corey and I. Doug is far behind. Unfortunately, Lyle Crocodile was not the smash that we were anticipating it to be a few weeks ago when we drafted. I really did think it was going to turn out to be some big hit just because of the lack of family films in movie theaters right now. But yeah, it only ended up with like 12 million. Or like 11 million its opening weekend. So it's not a hit.
It's one of those movies that takes a little while to build the momentum, and then just like
it's gonna have legs.
Yeah. Once everyone hears about how great those Shawn Mendes songs are, it's just gonna keep building.
You're right. You also had Amsterdam, which unfortunately I saw the movie. I loved it. Critics and audiences don't agree, and the movie bombed. Like a 7 million opening weekend, 6-7 million.
It's very disappointing.
It's like the worst marketing campaign.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, but this was your second pick in the draft, Amsterdam?
Probably.
And
yeah, it goes to show you that
it arguably could be your worst performing one of all the ones you have.
Yeah. Can't bank on cast anymore, I guess.
No, cast apparently means shit. It's franchise or bust. But yeah, that or horror movie, as we'll get to. But yeah, you're at 18 million so far. You've got a lot of independent type movies coming up. Yeah, you got Avatar. You got Avatar, Whitney Houston. It's all coming down to them. We'll talk more about Avatar, but yeah, I mean, at least you have at minimum 500 million waiting in the wings. Then that is a very, very generous minimum.
I
or that is not a generous.
It's conservative.
It's conservative, yeah.
I wouldn't want anyone else in my corner waiting in the wings than Whitney Houston and the Na'vi blue people. I feel like I'm in good company.
Yeah, no, I mean, having James Cameron in your back pocket, that doesn't hurt at all. You're going to be it's going to be similar to me last year where you have like basically no money in your pool, and then Avatar comes out like when I had Spider-Man.
Yeah, the only difference is Spider-Man come in.
The only difference is Corey's got Black Panther, which is we've
It's
talked
gonna make a
about.
shit
Is
ton of
gonna,
money.
yeah, it's gonna be fucking huge. We don't know how big, but it's gonna be big, and Corey's already killing it. Um, Corey, you've got The Woman King, Pearl, and Avatar, the re-release so far. Um, I wasn't expecting The Woman King to be a $50 million movie so far.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I guess it's the second biggest so far of the fall. Pearl made just as much as X. I was not anticipating that.
No.
And Avatar had a nice little re-release, 20 something million. Um, Nothing to shake at. I mean, when we were talking about it, I remember at one point I was like, oh, like 6 million total or something like that, or like 4 million, something like really low.
Yeah.
And then Hype Train moved it up. Um, so you got 86 million. You got Halloween Ends coming this week. Prediction, like people are pegging it for somewhere between 50, 60 million opening weekend. Black Panther, you got fairly soon. Violent Night. The trailer
Let's
came.
stop pretending like that's gonna be a
The,
big movie.
the trailer dropped for that.
I mean,
Could be the blockbuster of the fall.
that
The
that
new Lyle
trailer
Crocodile.
that trailer was incredible, and a lot of people socials talking about it. So it might be a sleeper. If that movie makes like 20 million, I'll be happy.
But yeah, I mean, Corey, I think you have to be considered the front runner at this point, just based on where you're at with the smaller movies that you drafted. Well, yeah, they were mostly in the back half, I think. But I mean, Halloween and Black Panther, we know are going to be pretty big hits. So yeah, I think you're the front runner. And then I am first with 98 million raw dollars, adjusted for my 2-time gross. I've got 196, so I've got a nice little 110 million lead on you at the moment, Corey. That smile pick worked out for me.
Yeah.
I
I
was
still can't believe that
Corey.
movie made so much money.
I expected you to draft that one
I was going
because
to.
you go horror heavy,
I was
but
going to.
the marketing was what got me to do it when
I'm
I
trying to
eventually
think what I
did.
picked instead of that.
I don't know because I got it pretty late, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's probably gonna end up being. I mean, I don't know what it's gonna end up being with mine. I have a bunch of like movies with medium potential.
I just
But
didn't think it was gonna be
Smile
so
could be $100 million movie.
Yeah.
and that will make it a $200 million movie. That's like the
Yeah,
Ring
that's pretty big.
of 2022.
How
Yeah, I
was
mean,
it, by the way? Average?
fine. Yeah, it goes like it gets ridiculous in the final act and doesn't really work. But it was creepy until then.
What was the week two drop on that? Do you know what
Like
percentage?
22.
It was like
That's crazy.
crazy for a horror movie.
22%? Oh my
Yeah, it was the
god.
second biggest or second best drop for a R-rated horror movie outside of Get Out.
That marketing really worked then.
And Get
Good for
Out,
them.
I mean, Get Out opened to more and had a smaller drop, but that ended up making 170 million. So yeah, if this makes 100 million for me, then it's a $200 million movie, which puts me in pretty not bad shape. That's probably a third of what Avatar Black Panther makes potentially.
Black Adam. That movie's gonna be huge.
If I can get 200 million from Black Adam, that would be nice. But
I
yeah,
think yeah.
I Don't Worry, Darling ended up making. I think it's got like 40 million right now. So not too bad considering it was a stinker review wise. And then Bros that bombed. That
That was very surprising.
going to make like 10 million.
And
Yeah,
supposedly it's great.
Yeah.
it was decent. It was pretty good. No, it was good. But I mean, R-rated comedies really don't do well. Rom-coms don't really do well. Although Ticket to Paradise has been killing it internationally, so I might have a hit on my hands here with that. But the difference is that stars Julia Roberts and George Clooney, and Bros stars Billy Eichner and nobody else. and Billy Eichner isn't exactly a big name himself.
Mhm.
So, and it has the gay of it all, but like the whole aspect of the movie, which only works in certain parts of the country.
Yeah.
But I ultimately do think the biggest reason it didn't do well is people don't really go see R-rated comedies anymore. So we'll see. Like I said, it should be a close um, pool this fall. I wouldn't be shocked at any of us winning. Um, but yeah, Corey, I think you've turned it around the most. I thought you had the least chance of winning based on the draft, and now I think you are in pole position um, to win. Well, you're not technically. I'm in pole position, but I think you have the best chance to win based on what you have coming up and how you performed so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy at this point. Um, Pearl, I still can't believe, especially after that first week. I was like, oh my god, this movie is not doing well in theaters. And then it's continued to, I guess, just have legs. And
Yeah, it helped with there not being too much competition, but it was buzzy. I mean,
yeah,
Scorsese like was fucking creaming his pants over it. So
yeah, he was like loved it.
um, gets the cinephiles into theaters.
Yeah. And then
So
the Woman King, like I just felt like that was going to be somewhat of a good pick based on the reviews, which I thought was shocking that it was as strong as it was. So we'll see what happens. Violent Night, telling you, it's going to be huge.
Yeah, it'll be get plenty of eyeballs on Netflix.
It's going in
well,
theaters, Doug.
yeah. So I guess by the time our next episode we record, we should have White Bird, Black Adam will probably come out on my end. Halloween will come out on Corey's end. Till Armageddon time will come out on Doug's end. So, um, yeah, we'll see. I got to get as big of a lead as possible before Black Panther comes out, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's talk about Avatar. I don't know where Doug went, but
Turn to
I'm sure
Pandora.
he'd like to be part of this chat. Yeah, as we all return to Pandora in IMAX, 4K, 3D, high frame rate. Um, a nice little re-release that came out. Yeah, we'll give Doug a sec and then get into that.
Into that colorful film that is
Yeah,
Avatar.
a trippy little world.
I hear him. He's coming.
He's back.
You're
He's
back.
back in business.
Are you ready to
He didn't,
return to
he didn't
Pandora?
want to talk about box office. He's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I got shamed too much for my crappy box office draft this year, or this draft.
You're still gonna win just because you have Avatar.
We'll see. Hopefully, Avatar and Whitney,
But yeah,
counting on you guys.
let's revisit Pandora right now. So it's saying we've now all seen the re-release, 4K, 3D, high frame rate, IMAX, remaster. It's got so many different things involved in its re-release. But
Footage of Way of Water.
yeah, it's got some footage of Way of Water. Uh, let's talk about it. I don't think any of us were huge fans of the film to begin with. I think Doug, you had the softest spot for it, strictly because of how much you love um, Walt Disney World.
The Flight of the
Yeah,
Passage.
Flight of Passage. It's kind of turned you into our resident Avatar person at Live Breathe Film, who is sort of pardoned it for its sins of being derivative of many other things. But it is more than just Fern Gully and Dances with Wolves and Pocahontas. I think, like as you would mention prior to our episode recording, South Park kind of turned it into that being its legacy, but it is certainly far more ambitious than just that. Um, this is a film that, outside of its technological achievements. Um, James Cameron built a fucking world and a universe that really feels lived in a way that not many others have achieved on film. Um, and while he might have some of the most cookie cutter characters that are based on some of the most just derivative types of um,
Yeah, it's cartoon characters like
yeah,
throughout this movie.
Archetypes
like
galore.
yeah, exactly. Just because like even the human beings are fucking cartoons. But
The human beings are more cartoonish than the Navi CG.
you are right about that. Actually, they
Yeah.
they Navi have a lot more personality and are a lot more original than War Man and Big Mister Big Business and the doctor and or the scientist lady. Um, every time like they
Man,
talk, I'm like cringing because they're just so goddamn like stereotypical of those types of characters. But
I was
yeah,
just
like
thinking of a honest trailer with their like main character that isn't good with technology and is dumb, and it's just like scenes of the people calling him dumb or him being like,
yeah,
"How do I work
dumb.
this video diary?"
Yeah, the dumb grunt. Man, but yeah, like he spent his fucking time developing that world and coming up with these languages and all these different creatures and plants and just everything about Pandora. He definitely took his time to create that.
Mm-hmm.
He spent
It's
all of
like
his time building the universe and the world that he just like ran out of time on the characters and just like whatever.
He was
but
like, "Oh my god, plot."
it didn't matter because it's so simple and easy to digest that the general normies of the world could all get into this movie because it's easy to follow. There's everything is black and white. Like they don't make you question anything. It's very clear who the bad guys are and who the good guys are, who you
Mm-hmm.
should be
Yeah.
rooting for, and that's on top of all the 3D effects and everything like that, and all of the like advancements in technology. So like it makes sense that it was the biggest movie of all time. Like I'm seeing it more now than I did in 2009. Like understanding why it was as big a hit as it was.
Mm-hmm. Very
Yeah.
accessible.
Yes.
It's
And
also just like visually enjoyable to look at. Like being back in the theater again, I just was like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. Like I'm enjoying like the flying around. I'm enjoying like all the plants lighting up at night. Like this is just like visually appealing, like enjoyable. It's just the anytime they pull back from that and they're like, here's this story that we want you to follow, that's when it starts to like lose me.
Mm-hmm.
But they do it like the world of Pandora itself is just like I enjoyed being back there. Like I think it's an interesting place to be, and I think that's probably one of the movie's biggest strengths is just how interesting and how like visually appealing Pandora is.
Yeah, like I waited 13 years between my first and second showing of this movie. I would watch it again just because it's nice. It's like nice to look at, and like I don't know, maybe I'm getting soft in my old age, but it like it was. It's an enjoyable movie, despite the fact that it's the most cliche shit in the world.
Yeah, I think I probably came away like you came away softer, and I came away a little bit more critical because I was just like, to me, I was like, all right, this story is like dragged on a little bit, and like it's pretty like it felt like a first draft with some of the character writing, and like Jake Sully is just like the most vanilla of vanilla characters.
Oh, he's basically a non-existent character.
Yeah.
James Cameron's basically telling you like plug yourself into this fucking role and
Yeah.
And
just
maybe that's why
pretend
he did
you're on
it.
Pandora.
Yeah. You are
Yeah.
Jake. You are Jake. The
Yeah, because
the audience member.
he's nothing. Like he's just he Jake Sully is the avatar.
Yeah.
He's He's as interesting as an NPC in like a Grand Theft Auto game. Like his
Mhm.
types of fucking his dialogue and stuff.
Well, I mean, also like his character got his character got more interesting as the movie went on, and he started to not be Jake anymore, and he started to be Blue Man Jake. Like that added a little more, layer. I guess another layer to his character, but like overall, he was just one note. And I think you're right that he probably wanted you to, as the as an observer to just kind of like take that role in the
But
movie.
I mean, he was like, it was kind of like Departed, where he's undercover on like the other side and studying it,
Yeah.
but like far less interesting. That dynamic was far less interesting because it like
Mhm.
he
Yeah,
never
you're not
really
worried
seemed
about him getting.
conflicted.
You're not worried about him getting caught. You're not like. You don't see much confliction.
Yeah,
You
he's
don't
just
even know
like
what he's. You honestly don't have a clue what he's thinking, and not in a good way. Like
But and
in
and
The
that's why
Departed.
like that's why one aspect of the movie, and that's still like is puzzling to me why people have like latched onto it so much is the romance between him and Zoe Saldana's character. I forgot her name, but the
In
blue
theory,
the blue chick. Um like he is so non-existent as a character and so one note, and like why are people so enamored with them, with their like why are people shipping those two characters and have been for so long? It just I don't that part I don't get. Like she's good, but she's not really that well developed herself, so like it's too like really underdeveloped characters just like existing together in this pretty world, and it's like I don't know. I that piece I still doesn't get me.
yeah, I don't
But
know. None of the characters are
the
particularly
experience,
interesting.
the
It's not about the
experience,
characters.
no, it's not. It's the experience, and I don't think my I don't think my opinion has changed that much. Um, I've always liked it, but I never like loved it. Um,
but you also watched it fairly recently. Like this
yeah,
wasn't your first like return, like it was
right.
for me.
Yeah. And when I watched it, I guess last year, I kind of felt the same way that I was just like, yeah, this was enjoyable. It was fun. Like I like this world. I like, the action. Some of the characters are good. Positive experience. Um has potential. And I felt that way overall, you know, seeing it in theaters again.
Yeah, Murph, was that your first 3D experience? No.
Nah, I saw it at midnight in 3D when it came out.
Okay. Yeah, I think it works a lot better in 3D than it does non 3D. Um, just because some of the visuals come across a little bit better. I was really impressed. I thought the remaster. I haven't gone back and watched the old one, but I have to imagine it
Yeah.
doesn't look as good as what that looked like in theater. Because what that looked like in theater, I thought like you could have told me that was a new movie.
The
Um,
special effects are definitely, like rejiggered for
Yeah,
sure in
but when
comparison.
when anyone gives Cameron flack, I'd also like would like to point out the fact that that movie looks substantially better than movies that have come out in the past few years.
Oh
Like
yeah,
their special effects, and it's 13 years old. The
it's
special effects
crazy.
held up. All they did was put like all everything just looks brighter and clearer from like the
4K.
4K like HDR or it's HDR thing. HDR is a
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah.
um, and like the high frame rate and things like that. But I don't think he was like touching the film up like a like he was remastering it for a PS4 or something like that, like a PS3 game.
I'm
I
not
think
sure what they did.
yeah, I mean, I remember when I watched it on Disney Plus last year, I was like, "Wow, this movie still looks fucking beautiful." Like this is wild. It's 12 years old. Like it's insane. But I think that there were probably some things that they improved, like the visuals, but I do think a lot of it is what you're saying, like 4K, HDR. The the frame rate definitely made a difference for me. I didn't think that I was gonna like that. And I think because of like it being in 3D and like how that movie is presented, I think it really made it a better experience. I thought it was like really, really, really good. It felt clear, like more seamless, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, I'd have to go back to see. I thought they did more to it, but you could be right. They might have just
Maybe they
increased
did.
the
I could be
definition.
wrong.
But I thought it looked great.
The
Yeah,
increased frame rate, like it was jarring for me in the beginning, but like after 5 or 10 minutes, um, like I didn't even realize it. And then I thought action looked a lot better in 3D with that.
yeah. Something I didn't remember about 3D that doesn't really have anything to do with this particular movie is when when they show the previews. You know how they like keep the lights on, or
Mm-hmm.
at least in
Hmm.
my theater they do. Like they don't work when the lights are on. Those glasses, like
Yeah,
I
just
was
the
like,
glare.
yeah, I was just like things in 3D. Like I couldn't like see right, and I was like, God, I hope this isn't going to be like the movie. I hope it's just because the lights are on. And then thankfully, when the lights went down, I was like, okay, cool, I can see what's actually going on.
Did
But
we
it
get
was,
any 3D trailers, Corey? I don't think we did.
Mm, we didn't. No, we didn't get 3D trailers. We got like little like experiences before and like the ads, like
Like
the 3D
like
ads.
AMC ads were in
Yeah,
3D,
yeah, but
but
not
yeah.
not a specific trailer.
So
what
the
you guys
lights
got
were
Nicole
out.
Kidman in 3D?
No, thankfully
No,
not.
they don't show her in IMAX.
Um,
Unfortunately, that would be really cool.
one other aspect that I noticed during the movie that I don't think was a thing um originally was the movie had 3D audio that was like really really effective. Like there were so many times in the movie where something like made me like jump because it was like an animal, you know, chirping or doing something in the background or like a bullet and like, you know, it felt like it would go past my head and that was something at least in our theater that I wasn't expecting. So I think they improved like the audio. It was like very much a 3D type of experience. I felt.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it was. I was happy we went. I went back to see it in theaters. And I had forgotten a decent amount of what happens in that story, so it
Same.
was. It didn't feel like I was. It felt like kind of new, although I had retread. I knew I had seen parts of it and remembered parts of it as it went. But yeah, I walked away and I was like, I definitely had an enjoyable experience going back into the world. I was glad I watched it again, so I remember like what the hell happened.
Mm-hmm.
Especially once because I realized once I was watching it how there was a decent chunk of stuff I forgot. Although, as we mentioned, it's not the most complicated or nuanced story in the world, so I don't know how much you really actually have to go back and rewatch it to get something out of it. Um, but it would be really interesting to see Avatar 2, which we got, I don't know, 10 minutes. How long
Yeah,
was
that.
that trailer
Well, did we get the same one?
or the footage? There were different ones.
Oh, there was
Yeah.
different footage. Really? They showed different footage. I did not know that.
I
That's
didn't know that
wild.
either.
Yeah, not everyone got the same stuff.
I got the one with the kid in the water.
Yeah, that's what we got.
We got that too.
Okay.
What was the
I,
other? What was the
I didn't,
other footage?
I didn't
Huh,
read into it.
it's neat.
that I thought that looked the new footage for Avatar 2 looked ridiculous.
Yeah, you could
It
see
was
the leap.
insane. Mm-hmm.
I think that like the underwater stuff looks like the best I've ever seen anything CGI
Yeah,
underwater.
just the way that it was filmed, you can tell that like that they filmed it in like with the actors interacting with water because that it looked believable, like that piece of it. But then like the 3D like the skin, the way that like the light was refracting off of like the skin and the water, and like it like crazy leap, and the
I think
fidelity.
it's gonna be like a step above like anything else that we've seen before visually.
Probably, I would
Is
hope with
my
the amount of money they've spent and time.
is my guess, and so that'll be like its big thing again. Is it took this giant leap forward when it comes to CGI and water and all of that. But yeah, I thought it looked amazing. I'm assuming that kid is the
One of
child
their
of
one of their kids. Yeah, I would
Yeah, there's
imagine.
yeah.
several.
He looked kind of like a little bit like Jake's avatar, and I don't remember what her name was. You said it earlier. It
Akiri.
was Atari
Natiri.
Natiri.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had the kid seemed like it had features of both of those characters, so I can only assume it's their kid. But yeah, it got me pumped. Not a lot happens in that scene, but it just like visually, it was just like, man, this movie's gonna look crazy,
I
and
wonder
it
when we're gonna
does.
get a final trailer.
I don't know. Have we gotten more than just one trailer?
Nope.
Black
I don't
Panther.
know that I need to see that much, but I guess they need to sell it to audiences.
Yeah, we'll get another one with Black Panther, which is
God.
only a few weeks away now.
Yeah.
About a month away.
I got my
Um,
tickets for that, but I haven't got my tickets for Black Adam yet. Are those out yet?
I think
yeah,
so.
comes out in like a week, I think.
Yeah.
Black Adam comes out in a week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right, next Friday.
Yeah. It's the week after Halloween, and Halloween ends, and that's this week. That's so next week, I
Yeah.
think.
I'll have to check the theater just to see if I can get a sense of how successful or not successful this movie's going to be.
Look at the seat maps.
So, are you more excited for Way of Water after having seen this re-release?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so too. I think that extra 10 minutes of footage kind of got me really excited about it. Just because I was just like, this is going to be, even if the story is just like garbage, it's going to be like, wow, looks incredible.
I'm a lot of it for me also is that I am fascinated to see if James Cameron can like just nail a sequel again. Like take a world that he created that, the movie was received well, but not amazing in, a lot of ways. And then build like this incredible sequel off of that. He's done it before. We all know that. We've seen him do it. Kills that that sequel, that second film, and regardless of how well the film does, I think that he definitely could do that again. That's what I'm most excited to see.
Yeah,
Plenty
I'm
of
definitely
seats still
more.
available for Black Adam.
Yeah, I mean, I have zero anticipation for that movie, so
Me either.
I'm not expecting massive box office.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't have a choice. I had to draft it with the third pick because it's a superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to make myself feel better.
Has there been a runtime that has been released or at all
I
for?
haven't seen one.
For Black Adam?
No,
Or
no.
Avatar?
Way of Water. Way of the
No, I
Water.
would
Or
guess
Way of
this
Water?
thing's going to be like long as hell. If we spent like 10 minutes just like with that boy like swimming up to that giant whale thing, like
It'll
this is
probably
going
be
to be
pushing
like a
3
3 hour
hours.
movie. Yeah.
That's what I think. Because this one was right up there, right?
It was
Close to.
2:45.
Yeah, so probably that or more. Maybe 10
Yeah,
minutes
I would
more.
guess 3 hours if I had to take a stab.
Do
You
you have any
can't really
favorite?
go too much longer.
Do you have any favorite characters or scenes from the original?
Stephen Lang.
Anyone you
He's
want to see more of?
Stephen Lang.
I'm guessing
I
Sigourney's going to be back.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
she
but-
plays one of the kids.
Yeah, she plays one of their kids.
Which
Try to explain that.
yeah, she plays one of their kids. Like not the same character, obviously, but like she looks. It's Sigourney Weaver playing one of the children.
Well, she got absorbed into the tree, so I'm assuming maybe like the tree spit her
Yeah.
back out or something.
I don't even
Probably
know.
something.
James Cameron just loves Sigourney
They're
Weaver.
all in the same network and everything's connected. So yeah, Sigourney Weaver's gonna be a child now.
I wonder how
Okay.
Stephen Lang's gonna come back because I heard he's in it.
Yeah, he's apparently the bad guy in all 5 movies.
How he died?
I don't know.
I'm
I
intrigued.
I didn't think he did had like that much significance where he would need to be back for all 5 movies, but James
And he got
Cameron.
stabbed in the chest, right?
Yeah, no, he was very much dead. Yeah. Um,
That's gonna be like the downfall of Avatar, is this fucking guy being the villain.
I mean, he's great in the first one. He's one of the best parts.
They need to
Character-wise.
just keep mixing up the villains, I think.
They're not going to do that.
It would be cool if they mixed up the villains based on like the different biomes or whatever they're going to, like how each of them is going to be exploring a different aspect of Pandora, like the water world in the second one, and whatever they do in Waterworld, good movie, and whatever they do in the third one, and fourth one, and fifth one. I don't know.
I kind of want like a Christian Bale gore type of Navi or something bad guy. Would be kind of cool.
Okay. That
Just
would be
like
cool.
that, kind of like that performance that Christian Bale gave, where he was just kind of like,
Unhinged.
yeah,
That'd be cool.
that's my pitch.
Is I wonder. Oh, I forgot his name, but Jake's good friend, the other scientist.
Yeah, he's
what's
back.
his name? He's back.
Dodgeball's back.
Yeah, it's just so funny because like him and the
All
actor
these
who plays
actors
Jake,
haven't done anything since 2009.
yeah, they haven't acted. They haven't been in anything. Even
now they're
Sigourney
gonna be-
Weaver, what has she been in the past 13 years? Not
The
much.
Defenders.
Not much. At least Stephen Lang has been.
Was the Cabin movie after this? The movie's so Avatar's so old.
Cabin in the
He's
Woods?
old. Yeah, was that after? All these movies are so old now that they might still even be after Avatar.
I think, yeah, I think Cabin in the Woods did come out after Avatar.
She was in Paul. That came out after. Also old as fuck, like 11 years old.
Sam Worthington was like pretty hot when Avatar came out, and now it's just like,
Well, because he did that. He did Terminator
Clash of
after that,
Titans.
right?
Terminator was before. It was shot after, but came out before. Clash of the Titans came
Shot
out
after
after.
came out before.
And Clash of the Titans was one of those first movies that like did like the post conversion for their 3D and was getting like shit on for it, but got inflated
Yeah.
box office because it was in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Zoe Saldana though has like had a career.
Yes, she's been consistent. And naturally, you don't actually see her fucking face in the movie, or like you can't really see that it's her. But she was in Amsterdam, and that movie bombed, where you could actually see her. She does great though when you throw her in a different shade of color between Guardians and Avatar.
Yep.
I like Giovanni Ribisi's character, and he's back. And I think I just realized why I enjoyed him. He talks very much the same as Michael J. Fox does as his older version of Marty McFly. In
Really?
Part 2. Their voices kind of sound the same.
I never noticed that. Wait, so he's returning?
It's very much like, hello. Yeah, he's back. Everyone's fucking back.
To be like business.
He very much set up a sequel at the end when he's like, this isn't over.
I'm coming back.
Yeah, we'll be here. It might be 13 years, but the story isn't over.
There will be a sequel.
And I guess
Do you guys watch Sneaky Pete at all, or no?
No.
It's pretty good.
I guess is he in it or something?
Yeah, it's his show.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, never heard of it.
Julia's like, he looks way younger in this movie, and I was like, yeah.
Everyone does. You see.
I guess if they have a sequel, or if they have a family, and they're like teenagers and stuff, I guess the sequel's taking place in real time. Like it's 13 years after
Yeah, I think
the
so.
first movie.
Mhm.
And then the next 3 will be like relatively quick in succession.
Because Cameron didn't want, had to deal with the kids and didn't want them to like age out of the roles, so it like forced him to
Yeah.
pump out the other ones. I thought.
Yeah, I heard they filmed the parts of 4 that would require the actors to be younger before there's like a time jump in
Mhm.
4. So like all of 3 has been filmed, and then like a third of 4 has been filmed.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely gonna make them all as long as James Cameron's like into doing it still and doesn't get bored.
I thought he
Because
wasn't going to direct 4 and 5.
he's doing 4, he hasn't committed to 5, or he's been like wishy washy on 5.
Such a
But
weird thing to
talk about you're not gonna finish the 5 film
What?
saga that you created.
What?
Like,
Yeah,
what?
why wouldn't you finish?
You're that close to the finish line. Just
Just-
fucking make the damn movie.
That makes no sense. And it's because he wants to make another movie, like a passion project of him. Like, how many passion
No.
projects are you gonna have, bro?
I don't know what his
Finish
reasoning
one.
is. I don't know.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
But like, so we're getting water in 2. What is like 3? We're gonna get desert, and then 4 we're gonna get
Nah, desert's not
snow.
It's not like exciting to look at. So
Well,
or it's
you
not-
have to think about it.
people
He's
wouldn't
made
want to
it,
live in a desert. So
but he's made it pretty clear that each movie's gonna have a different
Yeah.
setting, different biome. So like, there's only so many.
yeah,
So I assume one will be, regardless if it's entertaining or not, I guess it'll be somewhat of like a desert or like snowy. Like there'll be one with just snow.
I
Maybe.
don't know. You're gonna go to their version of New York City, and it's gonna show us what city life is like out in Pandora.
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe we'll get an urban.
The Na'vi are all have their suits sometimes.
We'll get an
carrying
urban.
briefcases.
It'll be like Blade Runner.
Yeah, the options are limitless.
I don't know. What else? What else could we
That would be
get?
so bad if it was just like.
I'm just so fascinated with this idea like of 5 Avatar movies. Like, how the fuck did he pitch this? I wish I could be a fly on the wall with him pitching like.
How did he
this.
pitch it? He showed the fucking box office receipts and said, "I'm gonna do more of this."
Yeah,
You know how he pitched Aliens 2?
No.
He wrote the word alien on a whiteboard and then put a money symbol next to it as the S.
Nice.
That's how he got his green light for Aliens.
It ended up being.
all about the box office.
Yeah, he's such an interesting guy.
Sold his soul to the devil a long time ago, so that's why these movies will continue to make money, and we will see them.
Yep. Yeah, now the re-release confirmed. What I already knew, I'm going to check it out. But now I'm more confident I will probably see all 5 of them than I was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Unless this one is.
At that point, I was like, all right, I'm going to give 2 a shot. But if I'm not sold on 2, then I'm done. But I think I liked 1 enough on the re-release where I'll probably end up seeing all 5.
5 seems a little excessive.
It's very excessive.
I just
4
can't
is
imagine
excessive.
like after watching the first one, you're like, I've got an idea to take this story to 4 more 3-hour movies. Like it just seems. Unless is 4 and 5 maybe like one cohesive story, maybe.
No, it's not part 1 and part 2. No.
Claims
It's not like
they're all
Endgame.
separate.
He claims they're all standalone, but like they have, I guess, an overarching story.
Message.
Yeah. We'll find out in 2028 when Avatar 5 comes out.
I think it's gonna, like I said, I'm not completely sold on all of these movies, but if the second one like does really well and it, it's a great movie, this and that, then I'll be on board. But that movie needs to be really, really good to sell me. I'm still very sus.
It's fair. All right. That's it then, I guess.
That was our visit to Pandora.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Avatar later this year. But yeah, thank you again for listening. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Subscribe everywhere. We appreciate when you do that.
We're on all the socials.
Yeah, you can find us wherever. But as always, this has been Corey, Doug, and Murph at Live Breathe Film. We'll see you again next time, film fans.
Bye.